Hello guys, I am here with Pepper today and we are going to be bringing you a complete reptile room tour. I'm going to make this intro relatively short as this is a fairly long video, but as a lot of you guys know if you are already following my channel, I have been in the process of doing a ton of upgrades in my reptile room. I've been upgrading enclosures, redecorating enclosures, all sorts of things like that, and it is finally done for the most part. There's still honestly probably going to be some changes. I feel like I'm constantly making changes to things, so I'm sure it's not final, but for the most part my reptile room is all done now and I am very excited to show it to you guys. With that said, Pepper and I are thrilled to be giving you guys our complete reptile room tour for 2019 and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So when you first look into the reptile room, this is what you see. Obviously there is lots of enclosures all over the room, which we will definitely go ahead and take a closer look at. I'm really excited to show you guys what's all in here and I hope that you guys enjoy the tour. So I think we'll go ahead and start with all of these exoterras here that you see in the shelf, and then we will go ahead and talk about the ones that are on top of the shelf. The very first cage that you'll probably notice when you walk into the room here is this one, and this cage belongs to my children's python Willow. This cage here is a 24 by 12 by 18 exoterra, which is also known as the medium low. So as you can see, she is a very tiny snake, so this cage currently gives her tons of room. She has lots to do in here. She has multiple hides, she has her little bamboo tunnel, some climbing branches, plants that she loves to climb on, and her water dish of course. So this is a good look at her cage here. I do also want to mention that every single one of these cages here is heated with an under the tank heat mat, which are all controlled by thermostats. Every single cage has one so that I make sure that all of my cages stay at the desired temperature. Moving right on down below Willow's cage, you will now see this cage here, which belongs to my Kenyan sand boa named Comet. Comet is actually hanging out right here, and this is his cage. So this is the exact same cage as Willow's here. It is also a 24 by 18 by 12 exoterra, so the medium low, and his cage is decorated with a few fun things. Kenyan sand boas don't really need a ton of decoration because they do really just burrow most of the time, but I still like to provide it. I think it looks nice and it does provide enrichment for the snake if he does choose to use it. And moving down to the very bottom of this row here, we have one more medium low exoterra, and this cage is actually completely empty. There is some substrate in here, but there is nothing living in here. In an ideal world, I would have a western hognose in this cage here, but they are actually illegal where I live. It is possible to get a permit to own them, so I have looked into that before, but as of right now, this cage is just sitting empty. But in an ideal world, there would be a western hognose in here, so we can pretend. Moving on over to the next row of cages. These are all ball python cages here, so I will go ahead and show you. I'm actually filming this video fairly late in the evening, which is why a lot of my animals are active. Most of the animals who live in this room are nocturnal, so they do come out at night, as you can see. So here we have Toby, who is one of my ball pythons. He is a male and he is a pastel pied moor. So this is Toby's cage here. It is a large low exoterra. So this cage measures 36 inches long, 12 inches tall, and 18 inches deep, and I think it makes an awesome home for him, trying to go for an adventure or something. As you can see, Toby here is a juvenile ball python. He's far from full grown, but he is also quite far from being a baby. But we can just go ahead and take a quick closer look at his cage. So this side of the tank is the warm side, so he does have a hide there, some fake plants all throughout, and then this side over here is the... Where are you going? What do you think you're doing? So over here he does have a couple pieces of cork that act as a nice hide. So he does have this cork around here which he loves to hide in, and he can also go under this piece here. And then of course there are tons of fake plants throughout his tank. I think foliage is really important for ball pythons. It helps them feel nice and secure. Oh, you want to hold my hand? You want to hold my hand, do you? Thank you. I appreciate that, but I would also appreciate it if you let go. Okay, thank you. Goodbye, Toby. Moving down from Toby's cage, we do have another juvenile ball python cage. Most of my ball python cages are pretty similar in setup, but obviously they do all have some differences. So this here is Casper, who is my male banana ball python. So it looks like his hydrometer is actually kind of broken. I don't know what that's saying, but guess I'll have to get a new one. So this is the warm side of his tank over here. So once again, he does have a warm hide, and then there is some plants and foliage all throughout. And then his cool side is over here, so he does have a cool hide there, and there's also this piece of corkwood which he seems to be enjoying climbing on right now. And in the middle of the tank he does have a fairly large water bowl there, and then once again plants throughout. There is a little bit of leaf litter in the cage as well, but this is Casper's tank. And then now on the very bottom of this row, we have once again another ball python cage. So this cage here belongs to Angel, who is my normal ball python. She is right here, and she does actually happen to be my only female ball python, so she will likely get nice and big, which I'm very excited for. But let's go ahead and take a look at her cage. So over here on this side of the cage is her warm side, so there is a heating mat under there. Once again, regulated with a thermostat, and then she does have her warm hide right there, and there is foliage all through the tank, which you can see here. And then over here we do have her cool side of the tank, so that there is her cool hide, but then she does also have this piece of cork bark which kind of acts as a hiding spot as well. And then there are more fake plants over here. Her cage also has some leaf litter throughout it, and her water bowl over here. Moving over to the last row, I do have my last ball python of the room. This isn't actually the last ball python that I own. So this cage here belongs to Titan, who is my only adult ball python as of right now. You can see part of his body. I don't know where his head is. It's somewhere over there. But this is Titan's cage here. Titan tends to be the most destructive. He crushes like all of his plants and stuff, so it's so hard to keep this cage looking nice, but I try. So over here is his warm side of the tank, and over here is his cool side of the tank. Over here he does have this warm hide, and then over here he does have this cool hide, and there is also this piece of cork bark there as well. Oh, is he gonna show his head? Titan's probably the shyest out of all of my ball pythons. Along with his hides, there is quite a bit of foliage throughout the tank, as well as some leaf litter, and then of course his water bowl there. And then we do have Titan, who is hanging out. Oh, there's his head. Hello, Titan. Moving on down from Titan's cage here, you will actually see that there is a completely empty tank. If you guys have been watching some of my recent videos, then you probably know what this tank is for, but if you haven't, I will give you guys a brief little rundown. So I actually rescued a ball python a few months back. His name is Medusa, and that's because I thought he was a girl when I got him, but he's a boy. Anyways, Medusa has been in quarantine for a few months while he is receiving all of the vet treatment he needs, so I have been keeping him away from all of my other animals out of my pet room, so he is in a different room of the house being quarantined. But this is going to be his cage when he is done quarantine, which will actually be very soon. He has one more checkup at the vet just to make sure everything is all good, and as long as everything's good there, he will finally be ready to move into this cage. So this empty cage is going to be for Medusa, who is another one of my ball pythons. And down on the very bottom here, we actually have one last exoterra. So this is another exoterra large low that belongs to my Pueblan milksnake named Rocky. I have just recently discovered that Rocky knows how to get behind his background, which is where he is right now. So you're not going to see him right now, and I'll probably be taking the background out tomorrow because I don't like it when they go and hide. That's why I had to take Titan's background out, because he was getting behind it. So I'll probably have to make some changes to Rocky's cage, but until then I'll just show you the cage as is and like insert a picture of Rocky or something, because he is behind the background in that corner over there. So over on the side of the tank, you can see that there is a hide there as well as a water dish, and over here in the center of the cage I sort of have like this half log of bamboo, which is probably Rocky's favorite hide when he's not hiding behind the background. He usually goes in here to hide, which he really loves. And then I also have this other half log of bamboo just kind of piled over that one, just kind of for decor. This one doesn't really do much. I mean, he could hide under there, but he usually just hides under this one. And there's obviously some fake plants throughout the cage and leaf litter, and then over here there is this piece of driftwood, and there is this fake skull decor. But yeah, this is Rocky's cage. So that completes it as far as all of these exoterras in the rack consist of. So now let's move on to what is actually on top of the rack. So this over here is a little 12 by 12 by 18 exoterra. It actually doesn't have any animal in it right now. This is going to be something for the future, but as of right now this is just an empty cage. And then on top of it I have my nice stuffed animal cobra. Moving on, over here I have my two tarantulas. So this one here is my Mexican red rum tarantula named Lucus. This isn't his permanent enclosure, it's actually down on that rack there, which I'll show you later. So this is just his cage for now, and then as he grows he will be upgraded, but this is what he is living in for now. And then right over here we have tarantula. Moving on up here, you will see that I have three arboreal geckos. So I have a crested gecko, I have a gargoyle gecko, and I have a standing stay gecko. I just recently did a video on all three of these cages, so I'll link that in the description below if you're interested in learning more about those. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at all of these. So this cage here belongs to Dorito, who is my crested gecko, who you can find hanging out on this branch right up here. This cage is emptier up top than I would like it to be, but these plants have to grow in some. Basically, when I got these plants and I repotted them, they dropped a bunch of their leaves, and now that they're repotted again, they're growing back. You can see there's like tiny leaves and stuff, so once they grow some more, they will fill out this tank a lot better, so I'm really excited for that to happen. But Dorito has been really loving this cage. It's all live plants, and I really love the way that it turned out. So here's just a nice little look at Dorito. He once again is my crested gecko, and he is such an awesome little guy. I absolutely love New Caledonian geckos, and crested geckos are just so awesome, and I bet there he goes. Dorito, what are you doing? Are you having trouble? There you go. So there was Dorito's cage. So now we can move on over. So this cage here is Derek's cage, and Derek is my gargoyle gecko. He is hanging out on the back of this little tree trunk over here, so you can't see him super well, but I'll show him to you guys in a bit more detail in a minute. This is his cage here. Once again, it is all live planted, and he has really been loving it so far. He was just recently put in this cage, but he seems to love it like literally absolutely love it. He's been doing so well in here. So Derek is quite the squirmy gecko who doesn't really like handling that much, so I'm going to just leave him in his cage here. I don't like to stress out my animals when, you know, you don't have to. He can just hang out there, but this is Derek, so he is a juvenile still. If I hold my finger up to him, you can see he's not that big, but oh, you jumping around still? I think he has beautiful coloring. Let me see if I can show you guys him. Yeah, there he is. So I think he has really beautiful coloring. When he's fired up, he's like a really dark brown with lots of orange on him, and when he's fired down, he goes almost white. It's really, really neat. He's pretty fired up right now, which is why you can see the dark brown colors, but he is so cool. As I mentioned before, I love New Caledonian geckos, and gargoyle geckos are no exception to that. They're very neat. And now the last of the 3 cages belongs to my Standings Day gecko, Mark, who you can see right here. I'm actually not going to open the doors because if you know anything about day geckos, you know that they are super squirmy, super flighty, love to run. And since Mark is right on the door here, I'm not going to open it, but this is Mark. As you can see, he actually dropped his tail recently. When I was redoing these cages, I obviously had to take him out of his old cage and put him in a temporary cage, and since day geckos do not do good with handling, me having to move him from cage to cage really stressed him out, and he unfortunately dropped his tail in the process. But thankfully, he will be able to grow it back, no problem. Mark will be just fine. He's living his life. He doesn't even notice his tail is gone, so that's all good. But this is his cage here. Once again, it is all live planted. He just seems to really like the cage. I wish that I could open it to give you guys a better look, but Mark is over here in the way, so thank you, Mark. So now that this entire shelving unit here has been covered, let's move on and take a look at this stuff. So over here is just where I keep a lot of my storage products. As you can see, I have a lot of bedding over here for an upcoming thing that I'm working on, and then I have a few bins, and my bins are just full of things. I have like fake plants, I have wood, I have things like extra lighting, extra heating, and all of that over here. So this over here is just a ton of storage that I have. And then moving over here, I have this little whiteboard, which basically has a little feeding schedule for all of my animals, not just the ones in this room, but every single animal I own. So the blue here is all of my snakes. The pink here is all of my geckos. Purple is all of my inverts. Orange is all of my fish. Green is my amphibians. And then the dark blue is all of my small mammals. So this is just a little feeding chart over here. I can use it, but I don't really need to. But it's also good to have if I ever am away from home and I have a pet sitter or something. I just like to keep this up here. And then over here, I have a little infrared temperature gun. So this is just one of the ones that you point at a surface and then it tells you the temperature. So this here is in Celsius, but my wall is 24 degrees Celsius. And then moving on from all of that stuff, I do have another little rack over here, so we can start with that and we'll go bottom up and take a look at everything. So right down on the bottom here, there's a few cages, but there's only actually one with an animal in it. This cage here is the cage that I'm going to be using for my red rump tarantula when he grows. That little thing there is what I used when I first got him because he was a tiny sling. I just have to clean that out since he's been upgraded now. So this is just his future cage. But then over here I have my Pac-Man frog enclosure. So this over here is just my albino Pac-Man frog named Astro. He's a male. As a lot of you guys probably know, Pac-Man frogs really don't do a ton. They just kind of sit in the dirt. This is what they do. So this is his cage here. It is a small low exoterra, which measures 18 by 18 by 12. Moving on up, we have one of my leopard gecko cages. So this cage here belongs to Pepper. So this hide over here is her warm hide, and she does have this little hammock over here. This is one of her cool hides as well as this one. They're both on the cool side of the tank, so these both function as cool hides. Oh, there she actually is in that one right there. She also does like to climb on this one sometimes. I saw her up there earlier. And then over here she does have her humid hide, and there is a calcium dish and her water dish, and then some fake plants. So this right here is Pepper. Like I said, she's my leopard gecko. She is actually around 7 years old. I have only had her for just over a year. She was a rescue that I took in. She is a super awesome gecko. When she came to me, she was in very rough shape. She was super skinny, very underweight, and she's just doing so awesome now, and she's also very calm and just a very nice gecko altogether. I very much enjoy her. Hello, Pepper. So this is just her enclosure here. So she does live in a medium low exoterra. And then moving on up, we have my second leopard gecko cage. This is Sushi's cage here. As some of you guys may know, Sushi is my new leopard gecko. I got him about 2 months ago. He is only 3 months old, but he has grown so much in the time that I've had him. This is his cage over here. So this over here is his warm side of the tank. So both of these sort of act as warm hides. Over here he does have a cool hide, which I really like. It's really cool for him to climb on as well, since it has all of these like layers and stuff. I think it's really neat, but he enjoys it. So this here works as a nice cool hide. And this over here is his humid hide, which also doubles as his toilet. His absolute favorite spot to poop is right on top of this hide. And I don't know why he chooses to do it. It's like the least convenient spot he could ever use the bathroom in, but this is where he chooses to go. So I pretty well have to clean a poop off of this hide every single day. And then over here he does have his water bowl and his calcium dish. And then of course there is just some decor throughout the tank, such as these fake plants, some wood, and he has a little fake cactus over there. This is Sushi's cage. And so the last cage that we have on this rack belongs to my African fat-tail gecko, Daisy, who is currently in that hide over there. So once again, this is also a medium-low exoterra, and this is what it looks like. So this is her cool hide over here. She has lots and lots of plants. There's some driftwood over here and some rocks, and then this over here is her warm hide. African fat-tail geckos do not need a humid hide because they actually need their whole cage to be humid, so they're not the same as leopard geckos where you want a cool hide, a warm hide, and a humid hide. For them, you basically just want a cool hide, a warm hide, and then a humid tank, if that makes sense. And then obviously, as I mentioned, there is lots of fake plants and decor throughout her cage, and then she also has her water bowl right there. So this is just a nice little look at what Daisy looks like. People often ask me if she's a type of leopard gecko, like if she's a morph, or if African fat-tail geckos are the same as leopard geckos, if their care is similar, etc., things like that. The short answer is no, they're completely different species. They have completely different care. So short answer, they are not a leopard gecko, and they are not even really that similar to them. They just kind of have a similar body shape and size. So now that that shelf over there is done, we pretty well just have this shelving unit here, and then we're done. So starting with this one, both of these cages here are just 10-gallon aquariums. This one here belongs to my Helix aspersa snails, and then this one here belongs to my Asian forest scorpion. So as I was saying, this cage here is my Helix aspersa snail cage. There is 4 snail totals. I think you can actually see them all right now. There's one right there, one right there. There is one on the back glass over there, and then there is one down here, if it would focus. Yeah, one down here munching on his veggies. So these 4 snails are named Dash, who is the little one over there. And then this one down here, the one who is on his veggies, is Speedy, but the glare is really bad and it won't focus. And then we have Race Car, who is the big one here, and Rocket, who is the smaller one there. So all of 4 of these snails were actually born on the same day, but they're all so different in size. This guy here, biggest, that one over there, the tiniest, but they're all doing really great. They love eating their veggies. I've had them for a few months now, and they're doing real good. And then over here is my Asian forest scorpion. I guarantee you guys that you will not see him because he has a very elaborate tunnel system going on. They do burrow, which is why he has so much substrate. If you look at like the size here, there's a lot of substrate there. It is like a few inches deep. So he burrows a lot. Hardly ever see him because of that, but I do have these like PVC pipes in his cage, which are sort of the entranceways to his burrows, but this is what his cage looks like. He has some fake plants over here. He has a water dish there, some driftwood, and then like I said, the PVC pipe. Bring this out, we may actually be able to see. Oh, I see him. I really don't know how well it's showing up on camera. The glare is really bad, but this is actually my scorpion there. You can hardly see it because the camera won't focus and stuff, but that is him there. So I really don't see him much, but that's his cage. And then finally on this top shelf here, we basically just have all of my feeder insects. It's nothing really exciting. There's like calcium and vitamins over there, and then I have this basket of supplies. It's mostly food supplies, so I have like my cricket food in there. I have my Pangea, Rapashi, stuff like that. Nothing really exciting. So this is all basically just food supplies up here. That essentially concludes the reptile room for now. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed everything you saw in here. So there you go. There was the complete reptile room tour. I do want to point out that not all of the reptiles that I own live in my reptile room. So if you guys are familiar with my channel and you are wondering where any of my pets were, like if you were wondering where my chameleons were or whatever, not all of my reptiles live in my reptile room. The majority of them do, but not all of them. So if there was anyone you missed seeing, no, I still have them. They're just not in the reptile room. With that said, that concludes the room tour. I am personally very happy with the way it turned out. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it too, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video a lot. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Also be sure to check out all of my social media. Everything is just MSAM99. It will all be in the description down below, and I hope to see you guys there. Once again guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Once again, thank you all for watching. Pepper would like to also say thank you guys for watching. Tell them to subscribe.